All right. Good afternoon, lunchtime, wherever you are, as people slowly hop on. My name is Kara, and I'm going to be your moderator for this panel discussion today as we get everyone prepped. July is College Prep Month. And so, who better to talk about this than our experts at ScholarShot? And before we get started in the conversation, as we let people get on, hi to everyone joining us from YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. If you have not already, or if you know someone who has or should, subscribe to our YouTube page, join and follow our LinkedIn and Facebook. We have helpful articles and information posted every single day. So I just want to encourage people to do that before we get started. We want to give a great introduction, let people know who you are, who they're going to be hearing from today. We're going to start with the man up top, and that's Mr. Dan Hooper. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Kara. Thanks for having us today. So very quickly, I'm Dan Hooper, the Executive Director of ScholarShot. ScholarShot is a college degree completion program, meaning we have vocational, associate, and undergraduate candidates pursuing degrees to exit poverty. ScholarShot has over a 90%, very unprecedented 90% degree completion rate on time, meaning 2 years for a vocational degree, 3 years for an associate, or 5 years for undergrad, and with a fraction of the debt of these students' peers in the state. So with that, I'll turn it over to April, our program director.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am April Tillett. I serve as program director with ScholarShot. And to echo everything that Dan said, we're doing amazing work in the community and with our students. So thank you for joining us today. And I'll pass it to Heather.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Heather. I am an academic manager on the team, so I serve the students. I am the one that is more hands-on with the students and guiding them through their academic career, as well as like finding internships and everything like that in between. So yeah, glad to be here.
Great introductions. Thank you all. Don't forget that you can find out more information. I'm going to say it a few times during the live at scholarshot.org. And you can download the GAP app, which we'll be talking about, and Dan will walk us through here in just a little bit. You can do that for free wherever you get your apps. So let's kick off. July is officially dubbed College Prep Month, right? But high schools are not back in session just yet. So my first question is, what can students and their families do or caretakers do right now to help them prep for college, even though it may seem like it's a long way off, or they're doing a vocational program? What are some things that we can sort of out of the gate they can do right now?
Well, Kara, let me start at a high level, and then April and Heather can get into some detail. But a few things parents and students should know. Number one, in today's economy, a high school diploma is not enough. It's a great step, but you have to get at least a vocational certificate either during or after high school. So don't let anybody tell you college is not for everyone. It's true, an undergraduate degree is not for everyone, but a high school diploma alone is not enough. So find at least a local community college. Vocational and associate degrees are paid for with your Pell Grants, the Texas Grant, the Dallas County Promise, and other great programs. So there's no excuse not to fill those classrooms with our graduating high school kids. And one last thing, our state and our region, they do a terrible job, a horrific job, by not advising students about this. Less than half the kids in North Texas even attempt a post-secondary credential. The latest numbers show it's 46%. DISD, only 18% of their high school graduates succeed at earning anything, less than 1 out of 5. So Heather and April will talk to you about planning for success, but at the top, parents and students need to know, most importantly, you've got to get something more than just a high school diploma.
And Dan, I have to piggyback on that, because that's a pretty large statement. And I know that you're very honest and very direct when it comes to expressing to people the importance of continuing some sort of education once you've graduated high school. When it comes to stressing this, what are some things that kids need, and their caretakers, families need to be asking themselves if they're sort of like, I don't know what to do?
Well, it starts with understanding what is a poverty wage. And according to leading experts for the state of Texas, for a young single adult, a livable wage is $16 an hour or more. And with just a high school diploma in today's economy, you're going to earn probably 12 or 14, maybe $15. Even $16 an hour is really much lower than the average kid's capability. But you've got to have a certificate, at least a vocational certificate. And again, you can get that at any of the local community colleges. Just go on their website, Dallas College or Collin College or Tarrant County College. Look and find a degree or certificate that fits your interests and pursue it.
All right. So April, right now, when we're talking about, hey, what can I check off my checklist? I feel like I remember not too long ago, although it has been a while, going to school 20 years ago, and feeling sort of overwhelmed on what to do and not knowing where to start. Only my father had gone to school, and that was back in the 60s. So he didn't really know how to help me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And really quick, just before we get into that, I wanted to always echo what Dan said, but also be more specific about vocational degree, knowing that, that's plumbing, that's HVAC, there's IT certifications, there's real estate certifications, there's cosmetology, there's so many things out there. So as Dan said, if you are not sure what you want to do, maybe you're toggling the line between university or community college, check out the Dallas College, Collin College, whatever county you're in, to ensure that you're making the best informed decisions and knowing all the options that are out there. But going back to Kara's question about some of the things that you should do to prepare, I could have spent all day talking about these things. There's so many things that we can be doing right now, but I wanted to kind of give us some easier tasks, things that don't seem so overwhelming. So the first thing I really wanted to encourage students and parents, if you are applying to Dallas College, again, a community college or a university, go ahead and get on Apply Texas, applytexas.org. So that's apply Texas, the word Texas.org. And that is where students are going to send their applications to the multiple institutions they want to apply to. And the beautiful thing about Apply Texas is you fill out one application in its entirety, and you can copy and paste it to multiple schools. So make sure that you go ahead and do that. It's very simple to just create a username and password. Please make sure you keep up with that username and password, because you need that to continuously log in. And you can start that process now. That way, when your application for the school of choice does open up, you're already set and ready for that. Another thing that you can do that's fairly easy is follow a lot of, get on your social media accounts and follow some sites that are scholarship, surrounded around scholarships. So one site on Instagram is Access Scholarships. I have my notes here, and they provide scholarships almost daily or even every few hours of scholarships in the region, scholarships across the country that you can apply to. So make sure you do that as well. In addition to that, also, making sure that you follow the social media accounts of the schools that you want to go to, so that important announcements and things that may pop up, that you're aware. You want to be aware of what's going on. And then one other thing I wanted to add is just to make sure for the SAT, ACT that you're prepared. So most schools will offer the ACT or the SAT at least once, either your junior or senior year. So knowing that you can use Khan Academy, KHAN Academy.org for free to make sure you prepare for your SAT. For your ACT, if you are eligible for a fee waiver for your ACT, which you have to talk to your school counselor in order to be eligible for that fee waiver. The ACT will provide free resources to take that test as well. So knowing, how to prepare and what to do there is definitely helpful.
And tell me that's khanacademy.org, KHAN?
Academy.org, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I added that up there so that people can see it in case they can write that down. Is that correct right there?
Yes, it's right.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure. Sometimes it's, I'm a visual person.
Absolutely.
And I
Yes.
think that that is some concern for people. I mean, I know I remember I wanted to take the SAT as many times as I could, right, to improve my score, but it's expensive.
It is. It is.
And so I know you
And
kind
when
of touched on that, but what do people need to do if they're like, I can't afford it. How am I going to do this?
Yeah, well, if students are eligible for the fee waiver, they can take the test. I believe they can get up to 4 waivers. Four fee waivers. So that's instrumental right there. And it is expensive, but I mean, I definitely think, again, if students can really utilize the test that's taken in school that is already included and free, which I believe students will take the SAT in the fall if you are a senior, you will be able, that you already knocked it out right there. So definitely, if you know that your SAT is coming up, most likely it'll be in September, go ahead and start getting on Khan Academy right now and start familiarizing yourself with what to expect on that test.
Heather, is there anything you'd like to add to that? I have a couple of questions regarding some scholarship stuff, but is there anything you'd like to piggyback off that with April?
Yeah, using Khan Academy may seem boring to students, but it's not. It can include games, it can include flashcards, different types of methods for you to study. Not every student studies the exact same way, so it's really fun and interesting to use the app and just kind of familiarize yourself with bigger words and really practicing, just really getting at it.
Well, and I have a question when it comes to scholarships, and you had mentioned getting on and starting to apply. Can we talk about the number of scholarships that it takes to actually even, land one? I think sometimes there's a misconception perhaps that, okay, if I apply, I have a really good chance of getting it. I just remember, and again, I'm speaking from my own experience. I'm sure everyone's experience is different. You can apply for 50 and, maybe get one. It all depends on a lot of different circumstances. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. So from my experience, a lot of the time students do go after these really big name scholarships. So let's say like the Coca-Cola Foundation, they will apply. They're not the only ones applying. There are millions of other students who are applying there. So my best advice is to go for those local scholarships. So your school has like a booster club, PTA scholarships. Those may be small amounts, but those small amounts will add up. Not only there, you can look at different organizations that the school may have. So I did go to school at Texas A&M University, and we have a Dallas chapter. And so for students who will go to that school, can apply for a scholarship that way. So there's these different methods of applying and looking and sorting through. Finding and sorting through them is difficult, don't get wrong, but search and search and search. You can do it, you can find it, and your school counselors, pretty much your school counselors, any college advisor will definitely be able to help you. And also, fun fact, since we are on the topic about College Board and Khan Academy, College Board, you can actually, if you just get on there and simply filter, choose some schools, and study for X amount of time, will be entered into a raffle to win a scholarship. So yeah.
Who didn't like getting something for free? That's great. Okay, so I wanted to mention FAFSA. I know that's something that, and then there's the TAFSA. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Let's talk specifically about filling it out, what people need to know. And as far as, this kind of gets into that conversation that I know I've talked to Dan about before when it comes to college debt and how much money you can get and what that really means. Perhaps if you get, $10,000, $20,000 in loans. So can we touch on that? I guess we could start with my kind of first topic of it is when do they need to be filling that out?
So yeah, you will it opens October 1st. Every school year it will open October 1st, and every school does have an open deadline and a closing deadline. So just make sure you are filling it out. Sometimes the website, from my past experiences, the website can crash just because everyone in the nation is on it at that exact time. And it is true. It is first come, first serve for financial aid. That's whether it's FAFSA or TAFSA, if you're depending on which one you are as an applicant. A lot of schools have funding, and that funding is limited. So it does come to first come, first serve. In that sense, it's not being directed or biased in any sense. It is based solely off of your finances and your finances only. It's not based off of anything else but your finances. And there's also a stigma of like, is it free? Do I have to pay it back? You don't have to pay it back. What do I qualify for? You qualify for your grants. That's how you qualify for grants from your school and from the federal government. You are also qualifying for loans through the school as well, instead of a private loan. And we can get into more details about that a little bit later on, but that's pretty much the gist of financial aid, and making sure just doing it as urgently as possible. The documents needed for both are your parents' tax returns and then any other information that you need. You will need a social security number for your financial aid, for your parents and for yourself. And you are applying for yourself, not as your parents, by the way.
No, that's a really good point. Dan, bringing you in on this when it comes to what you qualify for, then getting into that tricky territory of debt. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yes, what Heather described is so critical. So do make a note to be prepared as early as possible, right on or after October 1st, to get your FAFSA or TASFA done. But let's talk about debt, because debt is really the unspoken and unthought of anchor that kids need to and parents need to avoid. We hear a lot of counselors telling kids, "Oh, this is the best school you got into. Go max out your debt. Don't worry about it." No, bad advisement, very bad advisement. We try to keep our scholars at ScholarShot below $15,000 in total debt for an undergraduate degree. We're currently averaging below $1,500 in total. You want to save debt for your first house or maybe a graduate degree, but don't rack up a lot of debt, no more than $3,000 or $4,000 a year, if you at the most, for an undergraduate degree. And it doesn't matter where you're getting your degree. Just keep the debt low, and don't go to a school just because of the name of the school, but you're going to have to take on $10,000 or $12,000 a year in debt. The employer market, our job market, does not care where you got your degree. It's much more important, particularly if you're a first generation student, to get a degree rather than where it came from.
Well, and I will say that there's a great video on ScholarShot's YouTube channel specifically regarding what you've been hearing from employers and how the workforce, when they need workforce ready people, and that they're not looking at, where did you get it, but, can you do the job? We need to hire people. So I'd encourage people to check out a number of different videos that Dan has talked about that's kind of delved into that. It's pretty remarkable when you think about some of the misconceptions that we have that we've been told all through our student career, are just that, are sort of, misconceptions. Would you agree?
Yes. And also at the transactional level, because as Heather mentioned, the school now offers students the debt. There's no fiduciary, there's no banking process. So literally in a matter of 3 to 5 seconds, an 18-year-old will look at his or her financial offer in a school portal, online portal, and it's accept or deny your grants, your scholarships, and your debt. They don't tell you, is this enough for the year? They don't tell you what your payments are going to be and when. They don't tell you how much debt you already have. So this is something that students and parents really need to manage and own, and hopefully avoid as much debt for an undergraduate degree as possible. You shouldn't have any debt for an associate or vocational certificate. So think about that as you plan ahead, and avoid the schools that leave you with a substantial financial gap that's going to get filled with debt.
Because I think right now the idea is, well, if I go to school, regardless of what it is, if I get a vocational certificate, a 2-year, 4-year degree, I'm going to be in massive amounts of debt. It almost seems like that's the expectation. So it is kind of comforting to realize it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, the average debt for an associate degree earner at Dallas College is $25,000. It should be zero. And the schools offer the debt. They send the money home. The home doesn't know what to do with it, so they spend it. And the moment that happens, their student is committed to paying that back. And student debt holders will tell you 20, 30 years later, they're still paying that back. And kudos to them, but it's a real burden, and it can be avoided with a little better planning.
Heather, April, do you have anything you'd like to say? I'll piggyback on that before I move on to our next topic. I wanted to make sure that I gave you an opportunity.
I just wanted to go back to just really quick. I know we spoke about the FAFSA and TASFA. Heather gave a really great breakdown, and those documents are very daunting. It can be overwhelming, but please keep in mind that there are so many FAFSA, TASFA workshops, nights out for tax professionals and other professionals to help students and parents complete their FAFSA. So please be on the lookout at your school, at your respective school about that. Again, if you ever need assistance, ScholarShot is here for you as well. We can definitely direct you to the right place and help out with those documents.
Heather, did you have anything?
Also, I would like to say, I think there's a stigma of how long it can take to fill out the financial aid FAFSA or TASFA application. And honestly, if you are diligent with your work, and it can be kind of a little concerning to be working with your parents. I totally understand that. We see that a lot of the parents and the teenager, they're just butting heads, but it will honestly only take about an hour to finish, from start to finish, creating your accounts, logging in, verifying everything. It really, honestly and truly, only takes about an hour of your time. So the sooner, the better.
And is that for FAFSA and TAFSA? I'm not sure how that process works. I didn't have to do the TAFSA when I was in school. So I'm sorry, can you expand on that just for maybe parents who don't know?
Yeah, no problem. So the FAFSA is FAFSA.gov. If you ever come into any website where you have to pay for it, that is a scam. You do not have to pay it for anything. So basically, you will create an account. Your parent. So you as a parent will have to create an account, and just one parent if it is a 2-person household, and then one for the student as well. So 2 separate accounts, 1 application for the student. And for TASFA, it is luckily online. For all these years, it's always been paper versions. Luckily this year, I think finally this year, it will be online, so you will be able to do it virtually and fill it out there. But you can still print it, and you will still be able to send it to the schools. You do have to send a TASFA application to every single school that you're applying to, unfortunately. And then for your financial aid, for FAFSA, it is a little bit different. So we can also go, if you ever need help, I can always ask us.
Well, and I think that's what some people don't realize. ScholarShot, maybe they don't know, is there for people, even if you're not technically one of these scholars who has earned some sort of a scholarship. I don't know how you guys want to explain that, but I think that's important. I know that you touched on, give us a call. What does that mean for students? Who would they talk to if they called?
I think what that means is I'm definitely, reaching out at minimally just, our website, scholarshot.org. We have an information or contact us button. Put that in there. Let us know that you're a potential scholar. That way we can go ahead and reach out to you and let us know what questions you have. We also have an information email, information@scholarshot.org. You can do the same thing. Just introduce yourself and say, you have questions about this process and you need assistance. And one of us will get back to you, whether it's our academic management team, myself, or even our executive director, depending on what you're asking for, because we don't want anyone to be in the dark. We know that this information sometimes is not, students are not as privy to this information, and we want to make sure that we eliminate that. We want students to make informed decisions, so we're available as much as we can be to make those decisions.
Okay, so I want to move on and talk about the GAP app. Dan, ScholarShot helps people with 3 things. 2 of those are addressed by the GAP app. So let's talk about what those are.
Great. Yes. So ScholarShot helps students financially, then academically, with our academic managers, and socially, emotionally, if you will. So the 2 biggest factors our data shows as to why students fail to earn a degree, attempt but then fail, is they didn't know ahead of time the financial and or academic requirements of the school that they got accepted into. Literally, we see hundreds of high school seniors in the months of April, May, and June, right around their high school graduation. They say, well, I'm going to, and I'm not picking on Texas Tech, but I'm going to Texas Tech. Great. Let's look at your financial offer. Okay, you're getting $10,000 in grants and $6,000 in loans. How much is Texas Tech? And these kids will look at us and say, I'm assuming it's $16,000. And the answer is no, it's $29,000. How are you going to cover that $13,000 difference? And the same is true at any of the other 4-year schools in the state. So the GAP app is an online, it's a mobile app, because we all know for kids, if it's not here, it doesn't exist. They can download it at knowmygap.com or at the Apple or Android store. In about 30 or 40 seconds, yes, you're looking at a picture.
I'm sharing my screen right now, and this is obviously on the scholarshot.org website. You can click on the GAP app, and it takes you through the application. So that's what I'm sharing, just for people who are watching.
So it's a 30 to 40 second exercise. It's a survey, and gives each student or parent a best case scenario of their grants and loans, so that they can compare what their financial gaps are going to be for any 2 or 4-year school in the state of Texas, public school. It also asks SAT or ACT scores, so we encourage you to take those. If you report those, it will give you your academic gap based on the low end average of the students you might enroll with at that school. And so you really want to, every parent, every student, rising junior or senior in the state, should download the GAP app, enter their username and password. It will help you manage that. Fill it out as best you can. You don't have to have all the answers, and then ask for recommendations as your year evolves. And let's say you improve your ACT or your SAT scores, or you get your FAFSA results or your TASFA results back. Go back and update your profile. And the bottom line is know before you go. And that's for kids who are college bound. The other audience of the GAP app is for kids currently planning nothing after high school. Those students and parents need to know, as much as you want to go to work just with a high school diploma today, that is a path to poverty. And we want our kids to maximize their potential, their revenue. Just getting a vocational certificate will more than double your wage. And we can give you some examples of that. But the GAP app, get it off the scholarshot.org website, go to knowmygap.com, or go to the Android or the Apple store and just download the app there.
And as you can see, what I was walking through as I was showing, just sort of, I'm just putting my own information in, and I guess we are picking on Texas Tech today. As I just am adding sort of schools in, and I know that you mentioned this, but this is so easy to fill out as I'm even talking to you and going through. How long would you say that it takes to fill out this before you kind of get your answers and knowing your gaps?
We tested this with a couple of hundred students in North Texas last year, and typically it was 30 to 40 seconds to fill out enough information where they can submit it and get their recommendations.
And I'm just, again, entering how long are you willing to, or how far away can you travel for college? I've got personal information, that sort of a thing. So it really does, it really guides you. It's so easy to fill out. I can't say that enough.
Yeah, that's correct. And notice here at the, how much distance do you want to travel? Let's say you said up to 50 miles. It's going to eliminate any schools, 2 or 4 year schools outside of 50 miles from your home zip code. If you said 100 plus miles, it's going to include all the schools in the state. And you can come back and edit, as I mentioned, your profile and change your assessment of your plans at any time.
And I think we touched on this, but a quick question from Lonnie here. We talked about the difference between the TAFs and the FAFSA. I believe Heather touched on that a minute ago. Is that
Just a
correct?
bit.
Okay, just a bit. Okay, just want to make sure. Want to make sure that we got Lonnie's question answered. And I think it's again reiterating that going to the Gap app, and it's important too. I want to make sure I share this one more time. That you can see. The logo. I want to make sure you can see the logo. I don't see it right here, but the logo is basically a star, a blue star. It's super easy to find once you go in there and put Scholar Shop Gap app. I just want to make sure that we understand how easy it is to find. All right. Thank you, Lana, for your question. I appreciate that. Okay, guys, I just wanted to, before we wrap up, if there's anything you wanted to add before we go, I know that, again, folks who are watching this today, I'm hoping people will share it so that we can continue to get the word out. And that's subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow LinkedIn and Facebook. I know, April, you do a lot of work with local businesses around the area, trying to connect, whether it's mentorships, internships, so many different things. How do people get in touch with you if a business finds this and goes, I think I'd like to be a part of that?
Yes, absolutely. We definitely want to partner, always looking for new partners and wanting to give our students these opportunities. So anyone who might be interested in partnering or learning more about what that looks like, can please email me at April T. So April T at scholarshot.org.
And I will add too that at scholarshot.org, there's also a bunch of resources that are on your website in the resource section, which is very helpful as well. Does anyone have anything to add before we wrap up? We've been on for about 31 minutes, so I think we've touched on a lot of stuff. We'll definitely be going live again, so there'll be another opportunity to address more things. But before we wrap up this discussion on July being College Prep Month,
just really quick, make sure that, anyone who's watching, make sure you apply to Scholar Shot. October 1st, our application opens. You want to make sure that if you are a part of our population, and you can learn more about that on our website, that you want to apply. You can get up to $6,000 a year every year if you pursue a 4-year degree, and up to $3,000 a year if you pursue a vocational or associate's degree. So we talked all of that information about scholarships, all of the things about how to be prepared. So please keep us in mind when it comes to those opportunities.
And my last plug is, make sure you get something in addition to your high school diploma. Congratulations if you're going to earn your diploma this year, but you got to know you need something beyond that to avoid a path to poverty. And we would love to help you with that. There are plenty of options out there. So start planning and let us know how we can help you.
guys and gals, thank you so very much. We appreciate it. We appreciate you joining, and I appreciate all of your expertise, changing lives, not saddling. Hopefully a lot of people will hear this. They won't saddle themselves with a bunch of debt. I know it's been an eye-opener for me learning more about Scholar Shot. So thank you all, and I'll see you in the real world instead of the virtual world next time.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.